Hello, welcome to my cake kitchen. I am Gladys. Call me your internet cake auntie. I love cake, and over here I make simple, informative tutorials to help you navigate baking and decorating easily. Today we're back to making French buttercream. Yesterday we attempted to organize some ingredients for German buttercream. That didn't happen, but I hope you had a great session nonetheless. Today we're just jumping straight into making French buttercream. It's a buttercream I have done here time and again. There are different formats of the subjects of French buttercream over here. I've done it in long form, I've done it in previous lives, broken it into shorts, what have you. So if you find me going through everything so quickly, it's because there is several videos on the subject of French buttercream that is really detailed and informative to give you value on what French buttercream is, what it does, and how you can use it in baking and decorating. So yeah, if you don't know anything about French buttercream, it is one of the, let's just say, the three main types of European style buttercream, except these are going to be made with a mixture of egg yolks and whole eggs. The thing with French buttercream is that it's super adaptable. If you've never heard about French buttercream, I don't know what rock you have been hiding under. I'll start by saying French buttercream is not your most stable buttercream, okay? It's not. However, it is very creamy, rich tasting, has body, and can add a ton of flavor to your cake depending on what your objectives and preferences are. Now, whilst it's made from eggs, sometimes whole or yolks alone, it is not eggy at all. It's a bit like, think about custard. I don't know if I'm trying to convince you about why you should have French buttercream, but I think the goal here is to just give you some generalized information about French buttercream, just so that you can go and try it on your own. Now, there are a few different techniques in making French buttercream that makes it not so beginner friendly, but the process I am going to be using is adapted enough for you to be able to achieve great results with the use of French buttercream. The process I'm using now is also so adapted that the original version of French buttercream is derived by whipping egg yolks, and then you drizzle sugar syrup, which is boiled down to a soft ball stage, into the yolks. The hot sugar syrup then cooks the yolk, brings it to a safe temperature, making it safe from foodborne bacteria present in the eggs. And then you throw your butter in it, and then you have French buttercream. It is thick, it's creamier, but like I said, I'm going to be using an adapted phase that will make it rather achievable, because sometimes the use of the sugar syrup makes it a little bit of a technical process, because then you have to use thermometers, you have to observe things closely, you have to work in tandem about different sorts of things. It makes the process a little more difficult to achieve. So over here I have adapted it, and this is not just original to me. The adaptation here is that instead of just pouring the sugar syrup into the egg yolks to kind of cook it, we are going to slow cook, as in steam, the eggs and the sugar over a double boiler, bring it to a safe temperature, and then whip it before we add the butter into it. And that's what we are going to do, hence the adapted method. That should make it super easy and attainable for you. And so if you're wondering why I have my plate over here, it's the burner plate, okay, which is what we are going to be using. The ingredients I have over here includes some butter, eggs, and sugar. Now, the eggs is a mixture of half and half egg yolks and whole eggs. The thing with French buttercream is that you can have whole eggs, you can use just egg yolks, or you can just mix a portion of more egg yolks and less whole eggs. It's just like such an adaptable recipe. I love French buttercream. I did say though, it is not your most stable buttercream, because it almost feels like custard, if you like. It melts quickly and not very stable at all. And when I have had to use it for filling into cakes during the summer seasons, there's a specific technique to kind of ensure that it is contained, because whilst it holds better than, say, runny custard or some of your flowy or liquid type fillings, like say your jam and your caramel, at room temperature, or even once heat is introduced, it begins to kind of give away. So if you fill it into your cake, you want to be extremely careful, because once it begins to thaw and the buttercream begins to kind of fall apart in between the cake, it can cause structural problems such as shifting, and can cause your cake to collapse. So whilst I love French buttercream and I rave about it, and I've spoken about it because of its simplistic way of deriving it, I am also very quick to kind of assert that French buttercream is not your most stable of buttercream. And if you're using it, perhaps consider using it just as you would use some of your soft fillings like caramel jam. So you create a border and then you fill the buttercream into it so that it's contained. But those are subjects we will be discussing in future videos. I can see you're all in the chat. There is Tapeta, it's Lollipop here. Lollipop. Victoria is back. Good Vibes is here. It's Lollipop here. Hi everybody. Tapeta. Nicola. Oh, Nicola, we've caught you today. How are you, my dear? Right, so that's what we're doing. So we have granulated sugar, 250 grams of granulated sugar. There's 250 grams of eggs here. Like I said, the eggs is, as long as the quantity is right to match the sugar, you can raise the quantity. You can raise your egg white. I said egg white, whole eggs, or you can have more yolks than whole eggs. It doesn't matter, as long as you get the total quantity to 250. And then we have about 560 grams of butter here. The butter is both salted and unsalted. I have about 250 grams of salted butter, and the rest of the quantity is unsalted. The reason here is that salt kind of cuts through the sweetness of the buttercream and kind of brings a bit of enhances the taste a bit, because this is like European style egg based buttercream. It can be very creamy with a sort of buttery mouthfeel, and that's one of the downsides. If you're used to American buttercream that has sugar and sometimes a bit of texture in it, and the sugar amount in American buttercream is so high and it creams into the butter so much so that if you're eating it, if American buttercream is the only buttercream you've ever had, you may not take well to European style buttercream, but it's a case of preference. Food doesn't taste the same to everybody, so the salt here kind of brings balance in the taste profile, if you like. And also for some French buttercreams, you will find that some people do not add sugar, as in icing sugar. I tend to add just a little bit of icing sugar. For this quantity, you're looking up to about 80 to 100 grams of icing sugar, and the reason I do that is icing sugar icing sugar adds body and also bulk to the buttercream. And one important thing, it also helps to kind of balance the buttery mouthfeel. The 80 to 100 grams gives room for flexibility, so you don't have to use all 100 grams, and you can increase it from 80 just so that it brings balance. So if you want French buttercream to be very sweet for you, depending on the quantity, you can raise the amount of icing sugar. And if you just want the sugar to be, the sweetness to be just mild and just okay over here, then you can reduce it to maybe, let's say, 90 to 85. And if you wanted the sweetness to just be just here, where it's not too sweet, it's not mild, but you can feel the sweetness enhanced over here, but not overwhelming, you can reduce the 80 to 70. So that is the adaptability and flexibility of French buttercream. And the addition of sugar for this particular recipe is also to add to the structure, bulk, and stability of the buttercream, which is why I have it. But just pointing it out specifically that you may find recipes that do not use icing sugar, and that is okay. That said, Seasons is back. My people, you're all back. Hello there. Thank you. We went from all the chatter and laughter of yesterday to back to serious buttercream stuff yet today. So, I mean, we can do both, can't we? How are you all, though? How are you all? It's great to have you all back. Did I see Lollipop in the chat, or Lollipop is not here, people? I need to find Lollipop because she wasn't here yesterday and she's not here today either. I hope she's on a nice holiday or a break somewhere fun for her. Right. So to start with, what are we doing? Let's put this over here, right? To start with, what am I doing? We need a heat-proof glass bowl, right? Now, I think it's important that every time you see me use a glass bowl here, it's important to tell you that the glass bowl has to be heat-proof or heat-safe, because not all glass bowls are optimized for that. So be very careful. But this is a Pyrex bowl. But I hear, correct me for those of you in the chat who may know, I hear, or it's my understanding, that the Pyrex in Europe differs from the Pyrex in the US. How correct is that? And apparently it has to do, it's the same name, but part of the company, something to do with the branding and diversification of the name, in that the Pyrex in Europe is much steadier and it's optimized better, whereas in the US, it turns out Pyrex isn't as durable as it may appear. I may be wrong, but I think I saw it somewhere, because when I was looking for heat-proof bowls, I was looking for a reliable brand that will work for me. And apparently, to know the difference, it has something to do with how the Pyrex is spelled, something to do with capital and something to do with small. I don't know. If you know, let me know. But the whole point here is that if you ever want to use glass bowl, you want to make sure it is optimized to be heat safe, so you can use it without that cracking on you. With that said, I have some spatula here, and into that we have the granulated sugar that goes in, and then next will be the eggs in here. What I'm going to do is try and mix all of this together slightly, just so that I can break the eggs apart. I can break the eggs apart a little bit. Okay, there you go. I'll leave that to the side, and we'll put the butter back in here, and we'll get some water. Now I have a saucepan of water here. I will let you see into the bowl, but if I turned it, you won't see how the bowl, right? A few things for when you are doing a DIY bain-marie for buttercream, right? And this may apply to all the European style buttercream. And the reference to European style buttercream is, let me just get this here and then I'll talk to you, right? Okay, let me just let this references to European style buttercream. We're talking Swiss and Italian buttercream. Those are meringue based, but still egg based as well. These are made from whole eggs, but Swiss and Italian meringue are just exclusively egg white. Now, very few tips for you to bear in mind over here. Filling the tub or the pan with water doesn't mean you should necessarily fill it. In fact, you just want to add enough water. So think about, if I could show you from a top-down shot, you'll see, think about the size of the pan, the volume. Divide it into 3, and just only a third of this pan has the water. It's such a small quantity. And the idea is that when the bowl sits into the pan, the bowl should not touch the water. The bottom of this bowl should never touch the water surface. You know why? There is specific reason for that. Because the reason why we are trying to steam the eggs here to a safe temperature is what you call steam boiling. And what the steam does here is that eggs are very delicate. So the steaming of the eggs over the hot water here does 2 things. We want to bring the eggs to a very safe temperature where any foodborne bacteria is safe, and so we can create buttercream out of it. But the heat or the steam also helps dissolve the sugar so that the sugar granules can disappear, and then we end up with a sort of viscous slimy solution, right? Now that's not the best description you might want for your buttercream, but this is a case of trust the process. That said though, if you think about eggs as very delicate, any form of heat that overwhelms the eggs will scramble it. So the idea here is that whatever opportunity you have to ensure that your steam can just steam your eggs or slow cook it until you get to the temperature you need that is safe without cooking the eggs or making the eggs scramble is what you are looking for. So a summary of all that I've just said is that ensure the bowl doesn't touch the water, ensure the heat that you are applying here is manageable. So you can start high just to bring it to a boil and then reduce it to medium and then keep an eye on it. At this phase, once the water underneath begins to boil or come up to a steaming temperature, please keep an eye on it. Do not be distracted. Do not be tempted to multitask, because believe you me, turning your face away when you are new to this process will scramble your eggs really quickly, and it's just a split-second thing, and before you see, you have scrambled eggs and you have to start the process again. Obviously, I've done this time and again, and sometimes the cues are in what you are observing visually. When you go back to long form content of these versions that I have made, you'll be able to see into the bowl, and I talk you through specific things for you to observe visually. But over here, all you're doing is observing and making sure that the eggs will begin to slowly kind of, at this point, let's just say visually, the eggs feel a bit tight. Like when you are stirring into it, there is tension. It is lifting, but there's slight bit of tension. Whereas if the heat and steam kind of brings it to the safe temperature, it will become loose and a little more pourable, if you know what I mean. So that is where we are with the eggs over here. Now let's get into the chat and see. Let's see who is here. There's quite, oh, Lasso Kid is back. Lasso Kid, we haven't seen you in the chat for a little while now. How are you, darling? Ajovi Gloria, you're a beginner baker. Oh, Ajovi Gloria, welcome to the chat. Is it your first time here? Good vibes. There's RD. Okay, I did hear Pyrex and Pyrex are very different. So somebody confirmed, RD has just confirmed the Pyrex thing. The Pyrex with the uppercase and the Pyrex with the lowercase are different. Turns out it's the same parent company, but they sold parts something. There is something to do with the is it trademark of it, sort of. So the uppercase apparently is Europe, I think. I could be wrong, but yes, that is just a little bit of trivia about Pyrex and their bowls over here. Nicola was saying, I hope Lollipop is okay and well. Look, she wasn't here yesterday, and I kind of thought, oh, okay, maybe. I didn't think much of it, but obviously, because when you become like a present figure in our chats and obviously friend to the channel, once you're not here, we like, where is this person? But yesterday went by so quickly. Like yesterday's live literally, it was one of those things where I brought myself to therapy because I was having brain fog. I was just doom scrolling. It was a mess. Okay, so I just thought I'll come and talk about that, and then I got hooked on Scandal. That is still ongoing. That trouble is ongoing. But if you've seen Scandal, you can indulge me. But today we are baking. We're doing serious stuff. So I'm going to try and leave that trouble over there. Okay? Olivia and Fitz can stay over there. That stuff is fiction. It ain't real. Okay? But it's so toxic. It's so toxic. It's so good. I love it because it's fictional. Okay? Please, please, please do not. Not that I am the moral custodian of giving you advice, but young people, please do not stake your relationship on chemistry. It will ruin you. That's all. is back. Sophie, darling, how are you? Look, Tatiana. I don't know. The subject of Fitz and Olivia is kind of like wild to me, because yesterday the dog, oh, Sophie, the dog cake wasn't for a client. Oh, and I remember you asking if it was my very first attempt. Yes, it is. I wouldn't attempt it as a first thing for a client because it's not my strongest point, but we made it as a live tutorial over here. So let's get this over with, and then we might bring our dog Strudel back to talk about him a little bit, okay? Yeah. Oh, Lollipop. Lollipop is back. Yay! Let's give it up to Lollipop. Lollipop. I was literally going to finish, when we finished the live, I was going to call and email you and be like, sis, what's up? Like, really? We didn't see you yesterday. Oh God. Nicola, we didn't see Nicola too yesterday, but she caught up, and we were in the comment session. I know if you're not here, Aldi says Gladys about to go full carrot because Lollipop. Oh no, I am about to go full Olivia Pope. I'm going to go fix this mess. Oh my goodness, people. I went back like after, how did we, look, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're supposed to be doing French buttercream. What would Olivia do? Because you know what? I think they think that is, but okay. I think they think that is kind of like fun to me about Olivia and Fitz. Is in my head, it's not fiction, it's real. Because Fitz loves Olivia. And I'm talking not the acting people, the real people, like Tony Goldwyn and Kerry Washington. Them two love each other. Look, I am not here to speculate and throw sand on stuff, but if I had a husband who spoke and fancied their work colleague as much as Tony Goldwyn does to Kerry Washington, somebody's going to... Yes, look, because that man just loves that woman. Like, if you think I'm making this up, right? When we finish the live, go on any social media, and if you're not anywhere and you're on YouTube, just go on social media, like on YouTube, and Google like snippets, like fun videos of Olivia, and don't even use Olivia, just use their real names, Kerry Washington and what's his name, Tony Goldwyn, and watch them too. That man has forgotten he's supposed to be acting. He forgets. I think you know what? However he feels about her, this is me speculating. This is just speculation for just your entertainment, okay? This is not gospel. Okay? But anyway, I think this is in my head now. Okay, so see what's in my head. Tony Goldwyn seems to love Kerry Washington. The awkward bit is that I think they're decent people because both of them have partners. Kerry is married with 3 children, I believe, and he's married. And by the way, I told you yesterday, he's somebody's granddad, you know. That man is 65 and he doesn't look a day close to 65. Gladys, why are you being so serious? Okay, I think I'm taking this too personal, am I? Ajovi, we're a mess over here, okay? We bake, we talk serious stuff, and then we do the fun bit. Tatiana, darling, go have fun at the gym, and we'll see you right back here sometime soon, okay? Take care, darling, okay? Whew. Aunt Nicola, Aunt Nicola, stop it. I was just bringing you the tea, okay? I mean, You know what the Bible says? Confess your sins to each other. Confess your sins to each other so that sin does not have a hold on you. So once I figured that, ooh, I've made my way down into that hollow street where I cannot see the toxic from the right to do, and I was co-signing adultery even though it is fiction. It was like, I need to come and speak to my people. Okay, I need to come speak to my people. That's all. So yesterday I came and I owned it. I owned it. I love the toxic. Lasso Kid says, if I confess my sins online, YouTube won't help. Oh, Lasso Kid, now we want to know. Just whisper it. Nobody will hear. Just whisper it. Just a little. Just whisper it. You know. Just be like, you know, I love this. Nobody will hear. Okay. Everybody, close your ears. You don't want to know. Ajovi says she is. Close your ears. Close your ears. Put the head. You know, yeah. You see, good vibes is kind of giving you the headpiece. Just the kids in the chat. Just that we don't have kids. We're all grown people out here. Okay. But for those of you who feel like you don't want to hear Lasso Kid's confession. Oh Lord. Audrey says, I ate an extra slice of cake and blamed it on the baby. The baby stole the cake. Okay. Talking about the baby stole the cake, there was a popular video a little while back where the kid, like you're looking at a child about 3 years old that was looking for their candy, and they had left the candy in the fridge, and they go through a lot of things to go find the candy in the fridge. It's either candy or ice cream, something like that. And it turns out their mom was playing a prank on this child. So mom had hidden the sweet, and the child opened the fridge. And he looked and he couldn't find his sweet, and he turned to his mom and he's like, I forgive you. You ate it because you were hungry, right? And mom is like, no, I haven't seen it. And you can see the child go through all sorts of emotions, but trying to kind of go. By the way, it's a 3-year-old, so clearly they're not trying to swear, but my dramatic mind is going, they're trying to go, I can't believe this random woman over here ate my sweet. And it was so cute. It's been such a popular video for a very long time. RD is a busy mama. Okay, let's see what I'm missing here. Lollipop out here saying she is not a professional. Not a professional at playing video games. I mean, you hear what they say. If you do something over and over again, you build skills. So Lollipop, you could be a professional. You just don't know it yet. Okay. RD. Okay, so RD is babysitting. Don't worry. Just blame it all on the babies. Nicola says, I miss having kids around. I'm waiting for my... Nicola, are you that in-law or grandma who is like going, I want grandchildren at this point? Because if you're like, if you go and say, oh, I want grandchildren, the joy is that you look after them for a while and then they go back to their parents. It's not like looking after your own children where you're stuck with them. You can't give your own children away, can you? Let's see. Now, what am I doing here? On a serious note, Nicola said, no, I stopped doing that to my sons. Okay, good, Nicola. Leave the boys alone. Let them do their thing and have fun. When the time is right, you have them grandbabies, okay? But you're a good in-law for not bothering them. Because some mother-in-laws, the African ones that I know, they'll be all up in your business. It's like, why are you watching my womb? Audi. Okay, so Audi is confessing. Confession number 1 from Audi. Audi says, these are her nieces, by the way. I watch them almost every day. They eat everything. I frame them by placing the cake evidence. I'm waiting without saying anything. Audi, that's not what aunties do, honey. Well, by the way, if you're wondering what we're doing, class attention, let's get away from the fun for a moment. This is an infrared kitchen thermometer and cooking thermometer. And what I'm trying to do is get this to about 73 degrees C, which is about, the foreigners I always forget. But I'm looking for anything between 71 and 73 degrees C, which is the safe temperature before we start whipping. Okay, so that is what we're doing. It's at 69 at the moment, so any minute now this should rise and we should be fine. Now, if you are just joining us and you're wondering what we're doing, we are making French buttercream, and we are at the phase of trying to get the eggs at a safe temperature, and also to dissolve the sugar so that we can whip it. Okay, that's what we're doing. That said, we're going to put the bowl back in here. Let me have a look, final look. Yep, got it. So we are done here. Just moving that. And the water goes away. Let's put this somewhere safe so it doesn't burn nobody. Okay, there you go. So now what do? We're getting the stand mixer. Unfortunately, this type of buttercream requires the use of a mixer. But the stuff you will need, I've told you before that if I'm not baking, my tools and equipment double as storage, because my kitchen is small. So that's where we are. Now, here is a public service announcement to let you know. As soon as the whisking begins, it's going to be noisy. So I will not be able to talk to you, but I will be able to follow the chat, and then we can have a look at this. Hiya. Hey, sir. You want to come and say hello to your people? Right, what we're doing is we're just going to whisk this until it becomes like the ribbon stage. I will show you what that looks like, but there's not much to it. Just to give you some sort of guidance for timing, you're looking at anything between 10 to 12 minutes. So if you do decide to go the full 12 minutes because of the volume, you want to make sure that you give your mixer head a break so you don't burn it. So for instance, we're going to go at, let's say, 3 minute interval. So it was for 3 minutes, you stop it, have a look, give the mixer head a break, go back to whisk, and until you get to where you're going. So the timing is important. The timing is not just to change the consistency over here, which will turn all ribbony. The timing also allows the whipping to cool down the eggs before you add the butter, because if it doesn't cool and you add the butter, it will melt the butter and then you'll have a soupy mess. So that's something to know. I'm just going to go in there and the whisking starts from now. It's first 3 minutes and this is what we have. I mean, this is when class can have a laugh at my expense in the chat, because with this noise out happening here, there's nothing I can do. So this is what we are looking at. Now, depending on what you are using, whether you're using egg yolks alone or just whole eggs alone, or the ratio of egg yolks are more in the mixture, which is what I'm using, this consistency is going to feel slightly different. For instance, if you're using egg yolks alone, it will look foamy, it will look voluminous, and the stretch is a little bit thicker, if you like. But all of that is to say, just observe what the ribbon looks like, and by the touch of the bowl, I can feel the bottom being warm a little bit. So I'm going to let it go a little more. Now, if you're in a very warm place and whipping it doesn't cool your eggs down, right? The syrup here down. After 10 to 12 minutes, what you can do is you can put cool ice packs, or you can put a kitchen towel in a freezer and then put it on the bottom to cool the bowl down. That should help. But ultimately, if you whisk it to the temperature, the consistency you need, and the bowl needs cooling, you can put it in the fridge and it will cool down before you add the butter. You should note though, if you do put this mixture right in the fridge right now, by the time you get it out, it would have broken and the consistency will change. If you whip it, it won't come back together as this, but it doesn't mean the syrup is ruined. You can just add your butter and then it will all come together. Okay, just something for you to know. So I'm going to let that still go a little more. Right, there's double-edged is it double-edged sword devotions, darling. Thank you for coming back. Yes, we did finish the dog. It's right behind me. Let's get through this buttercream thing and then we can talk about the dog and have a bit of fun before we say Cheerios for the day. But if I'm not talking to you, it's because my attention. And you see, I hope you could have felt what I'm feeling here. The second stage of the ribbon feels a little more thicker and there's a bit more tension. It's not easy to run through. And as I'm going to whip it for the last round, keep an eye. You will see the tension and the bowl changer. Now, here's a quick note. It's not going to whip and then turn all solid at all, but it will look like it is coming together on its own. That is the consistency you need. And if it wasn't the bottom of the bowl feeling too warm, I will probably just add the butter now. But another way you can sort of make it work is make sure that your butter, because if you want to put the butter in whilst it's still warm or slightly warm, It's not recommended you put your butter when it's warm though, it will just melt, okay? But if you want to do that, you should make sure your butter is cold solid. That would just create a problem for your mixer. So safe thing, use room temperature butter. We've spoken about consistency of butter. For the buttercream you need, what you need is butter to feel like when you press into it, you're not putting too much pressure, but it's also not melting over your hand with a coating of oil. That's all. So that's the butter we have. I'm going to run this again for another 5 minutes and then we will be done. Have a look in the bowl. You can see it's changing in the bowl, and that's what we are looking for. So I think we've got into what we need. See, this is what we need. It looks like, if you've seen how candy is made, look at what we have here. And I'm just gonna dip my finger. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to touch. The bowl is fine now. Okay, so this is give or take 10 to 12 minutes for achieving what we need here. So what we wanted, I know there's a chatter in the chatter is happening over there. Let's just finish this and then I'll join you. So for those of you who are just joining us now, please don't forget to like the video, please. Just tell YouTube, because I can't pretend that's not important to us. But that aside, I know Lollipop and Good Vibes and Thapita and the rest of you are doing a good job keeping the chat going and reminding each other, and I sincerely appreciate the support here. So let's add the butter, okay, which is like the consistency of butter we need is that. So we're going to turn the butter a little high. Okay, so this is what we have, and essentially that's the buttercream come together. But you don't want to, at this point, you don't want to kind of throw that in your mouth and feel like you have like a block or residue of solid butter in your mouth. So you continue to whip until you can kind of aerate the butter a bit more. But this is a very creamy, rich tasting buttercream. See the thing with salt, it's a bit like, the only way I like to describe French buttercream for people is like, think about your favorite ice cream but with some butter in it. Your favorite vanilla ice cream, like rich tasting vanilla ice cream with some butter in there. It's really nice. But I'm also going to add the icing sugar at this point, and we're going to whisk this together, and that's it. You can also flavor it, but I was saying something about the use of salted butter. Most of the time when I've received questions for whether you should use salted butter or add your own salt to buttercream or any recipe, the answer is not always a linear yes or no. And the reason is that there are different amounts of salts in different brands of butter. And for this, I went against my own judgment and used a whole block of salted butter plus unsalted. So it's a mix of both. And it seems like the salt is so overpowering, you can almost feel like the buttercream is salty. But the good thing is that because I have icing sugar here to balance the taste also, it will kind of also enhance the sweetness and cancel out some of the salt. So if you're not so sure, I would say always use a third of salted butter in the quantity if you want. Like, so say if it calls for, say, 500 to 525 grams of butter, right? And you want to use unsalted butter, maybe use up to about only 150 grams of salted butter in there and leave the rest unsalted. Because here 250 grams, supposing the total amount was 560 grams of butter and 250 of that was salted, it's made the buttercream just a tad bit salty. But this is just on me, and the sugar should be able to correct that. So I thought I'd point that for you to know. Nicola says, every time I watch Gladys, I feel like I have to bake something. Nicola, every time I watch you, I want to cook food that I know I have no business thinking about. Okay, that is you. But last time you made the, is it the banana loaf? That looked so yum. Oh, you can never go wrong with banana loaf, my people. Okay, so let's have a taste of this for the last time, and that's it. That's it. All done. It's like your favorite ice cream. If you see me, if you see me literally like eating buttercream like it's my favorite dessert, it means it's that good. That's it. French buttercream done. Now let me wash my hands. Let me wash my hands and come join the chat. Because I've been MIA because I'm busy teaching you how to make French buttercream. Ajovi, I remember you saying you are new to baking. And I don't believe this is your first time here. Ajovi, if my guess is right, you are in the US, correct? I may have mistaken you for somebody else. The only reason I'm moving it out of sight is just so that I can talk to you without this in my face. No, it wasn't vanilla. It's a bit of maple syrup. I just wanted the flavoring of maple syrup to it. But you can add vanilla if you want. Yeah? Okay, so Ajovi, let's talk about you for a minute. Ajovi is a beginner baker. So when you call yourself a beginner baker, can you explain that with a bit more detail? Because you could also be sitting there dreaming about wanting to bake and yet you will call yourself a beginner baker. Or you would have been engaging in baking activity at home or have done it previous. You're not currently doing it, but you've done it before, so you think you're a beginner. Or you are currently doing it because you've just started. So where are you? Kind of explain it in your own words, what a beginner baker is. And let us know if you have a specific question about where to start. First of all, describe where you are on the spectrum of beginner. And what your goals are. Do you want to do something with it? And if you do want to do something with, whether it's a newfound hobby or interest, whatever you want to do with it, is it just to be able to bake for friends and family or to make it into a business? Because then it will help us, or it will help me be able to give you some guidance on what options are available for you. Okay? That said, I'm just going to move this buttercream out of here, because it's a bit warm. I'm going to just dump it in the fridge. And oh people, I made pizza dough for pizza. There you go. That's pizza dough. I need to go put it in a warm room somewhere, but that is just by the way. That's what I've been doing today. So the family is having pizza tonight. You like, oh RD, you like pineapple turnover? I mean, I've missed the entire chat, but I've seen here there's we've made pineapple turnover here, pineapple upside down cake. We've made it on here. I made it in long form, and I've also made it in in a live session. It was actually chosen by, when I started, the very first moderator who used to support us, Amanda. And we had a session where anyone could nominate their favorite cake and I'll come and bake it. And we did the pineapple upside down. The details and everything you need to achieve success with it is over here on the channel. And the best thing is that if you go to the live library to check that pineapple turnover down, I think that was the time where I used to edit the videos after the live. So you will be getting a full tutorial without all the chatter. So it's more streamlined and tutorial based for you. So if you want to go see how to make a pineapple turnover, good luck with that. Okay, but we have that here. And I think fall is coming, so we're going to be making some of those easy fall bakes that are so yum and so warm and fill your belly. I love cake. That's all. Let's see what Ajovi says. Ajovi says, I'm currently, so I did ask Ajovi about where her journey is in terms of being a beginner. She says, I am currently doing it, which is she is baking. She's very new to baking. I have always loved baking, but just didn't have the right guide to start on how to start baking. Okay. I have tried some, but it didn't always turn out good. Okay, Ajovi, noted. I will give you some pointers for that. But I want to learn to be able to cook it for family and friends instead of always going to buy outside. Right. Looks like, just a quick correction, we may be talking about two different things. RD, the turnover, I thought turnover is upside down. Okay, so I may be completely giving you the wrong information. Either way, I am talking about the sort of bake where you bake the cake in the pan and the bottom has pineapple and sugar and all that good stuff, and then you finish and you flip it. That's what I'm talking about. So I don't know what else Tapita is talking about over there, Tapita. Okay? You will be so confused, people. I mean, we can have two different conversations here that looks alike. So Tapita, don't be confused. You'll be all right. Now let's talk to Ajovi. Ajovi wants to be able to bake for family and friends without having to go and buy. Okay, Ajovi, here's something to give you some perspective. And take it from me. I have nothing to get. I have nothing to lose, but a lot to give you here. And one thing you will know from your Auntie Gladys over here is that she will always keep it real with you. Okay? Here's the thing. Buying a cake is not a bad thing. Okay? Because making a cake is time consuming. And it will cost you money. Okay? So going to buy a cake quickly sometimes is the right thing to do. Now, the part where I'll give you some advice on what you want to do with your baking is because you have stated you enjoy it. You've always wanted to do it. So it's not about the expense and the money and the inconvenience, right? It's more about you enhancing your interest and doing something that you actually derive joy, which is a complete different category. So the values of buying a cake and making a cake is not a one-to-one swap, okay? If you woke up one day and said, look, I don't fancy baking a cake, buying a cake, that experience doesn't fulfill when you make a cake. And so if you also decided that you will make a cake for yourself, it doesn't take away from the fact that you are not saving money or it's inconvenient for you to buy. You see what I'm saying here? So they can both exist. Two things can be true. You can bake and also be able to buy a cake depending on time and circumstance. That said, I'm going to focus on the part where baking is something that is of interest to you, that you want to enhance because you derive joy, and you want to be able to share that joy and the process of it and the outcome of putting all of that together to family. So that is kind of in a whole different criteria, because with that comes the investment of time, investment of money, the ability to be able to learn a new skill, which is not linear. It will go this way. Some days you wake up, you want to bake, and some days you wake up, you're like, I'm failing at this thing. I don't know. So prepare yourself. That said, if you want to start baking, you want to be able to identify specifically what you want to bake. Is it a cake you want to bake, or it is just simple loaf pans? Define what you want to bake. Over here, I specialize in cakes. I am a custom cake maker, and I specialize in cakes only, generally. Okay? Does it mean I bake something else? Yes. I could bake a few different things. Sometimes on a fun day when I want to do something completely different, we come here and then we do that. I've even prepared like spicy Ghanaian chicken over here before, but I make a point not to bring that here because I am a cake maker and cakes is what I do. So as a beginner, define specifically what you want to bake. And here's another point for you to take. If you want to start baking, don't obsess about what the professionals are doing over here. And I'll count myself in that category. Like when you come on the channel and you see me make a chocolate cake and I'm baking it in a deep tin and I'm talking cake pans, don't obsess about that. Just think about what I am doing and how you can adapt that to yourself. So for instance, if it is cake you want to bake, you want to ask yourself what kind of cake you want to bake. When you are trying to make cakes for family and friends, and the only thing you're thinking about is, say, layered cake, you are kind of selling yourself short, because not only do you have to find a recipe that should work for you, you're going to have to learn how to put that recipe together and then build a cake. It's a long process, and the more you fail at it at the start, if you haven't enlisted professional support, it will frustrate you, it will create tension in your process, you will give up, right? And I want you to go and achieve success. So here's my best advice to start with. That is, if you're starting, especially if you want to bake cakes for family, start with simple bakes, like, for instance, a loaf cake. Okay, a loaf cake means you are learning to bake a cake by focusing on the recipe, because you can't go wrong with a loaf cake. So find quick, adaptable recipes. If you've been here, if I ever created a YouTube shop, okay, the t-shirt will have adaptable, and adaptable means you can make it your own without difficulty. You can change things around. So look for adaptable recipes. Adaptable recipes in this context are recipes that can change from loaf pan to layered cake to cupcakes without extreme changes, because recipes are not always the same and they don't turn out the same. If you take a particular recipe that bakes shallow and you want to optimize and scale it to bake deep, you might encounter problems. So know where you are consuming your content. And if you have a sense of your tutor giving you information, detailed information about the process and the ingredient listing, it should tell you what kind of creator you are kind of consuming information from, and it will also affirm what you're looking for, which is that, for instance, on this channel, if you landed on this is not an advertisement for me, I'm just citing it as an example for the context of this conversation. If you land on this channel, you could never go wrong with a vanilla cake recipe, because I made that vanilla cake recipe my own, adapted it, and it is super beginner friendly. It's the same recipe that bakes my cupcakes, except in the cupcake version, I've spoken about why I split the self-raising flour from a bit by adding a bit of plain flour, but it's the same recipe, so you don't have to change things around. So when you get the recipe, you know the work has been done for you, and what you have to focus on is learning your techniques at home by yourself, because whilst you may watch me talk you through everything, what are you using at home? Are you using a stand mixer or a hand mixer? That will determine your timing, how you mix your butter, how is your oven working in your favor. All of those things will matter, right? So get a recipe that has all the job done for you and just get to it and start baking. So I will say start with your favorite cakes, like your loaf cake. So for instance, my vanilla cake will kind of flip into a loaf cake. It is still a vanilla cake. The same recipe can bake as a large bake with buttercream on it. Simple. Stick with simplistic options. Okay, just bake it, add your buttercream. Sometimes you just have to be imaginative. Go on Pinterest. Find simple bakes that are decorated with buttercream and stuff, because you will find out that if you want to bake for family and friends, right, the idea of making a beautifully well presented cake is a journey, okay? And if that is where you want to go, I am taking you through phase 1, okay? Because when you nail down a recipe and you can get to the kitchen and bake a cake without feeling stressed, then you can move on from that to the next stage, which is that now I can bake a cake without trouble. So what's next? Let me go for buttercream. If you can get one buttercream option that works for you, you don't need a lot of buttercream options. You just need the one that works for you. So you learn to bake a cake that you are confident in, that you can bake many ways, right? Your next phase is buttercream. Now, if you can make buttercream and make a cake same day or different days and not feel stressed, you are on your way to building a cake. Do you see what I'm saying? So I won't bore you with too much information. All I'm telling you here is, if you are looking to start your journey into baking, you are on the right channel, but you also need to identify your goals so that when you come into the chat, you can ask questions. Because you know what? If you went with me on a live and you caught me on a one-to-one session where you wanted me to help optimize your goals and lead you, I will be charging you for it. right? So don't waste the opportunity to pick my brain or any other people's brains when you are in a live chat with them. I mean, some of the creators here I will recommend for you will be someone like Claire Saffitz. Claire Saffitz is an amazing baker and teacher. Okay, there is Erin Jean McDowell. She's on the platform, an amazing tutor as well. She breaks down the ingredients, she makes it fun. All of these places, those Erin Jean McDowell and Claire Saffitz don't do lives, but their resources are like, you're talking academic level resources for you to consume. Okay, some people I will throw in the mix here will be Preppy Kitchen over here, and Joy of Baking by Stephanie Jubowski. These are like, besides myself, these are all like creators that I will recommend for a complete beginner to kind of just sit, pick a recipe and take it apart. But even when you're studying from those people, when you come in here, ask questions so that we can point you in the right direction, because the lives are not just funs and giggles, you know. It is also for to serve you as a learning and a teaching resource. That's the reason why I'm here. So don't waste that opportunity. Okay, that's all. What have I missed in the chat? I hear host right. What have I missed in the chat? Nicola is out here singing my praise. I know she's saying something nice. Okay, let's see. Whew. I am so hot, people. I think this heat that I feel has something to do with the brain fog I feel. Okay, right. What am I missing? I think I have kind of missed a lot in this chat. It's okay, Ajovi. Ajovi, it's a journey, okay? It's a journey. So we are here to help you. At this point in time, what do you have at home that you bake with? Talk us through what your tools are. Do you have a hand mixer? I mean, for starters, you don't need a stand mixer. For sure, you do not need a stand mixer. So what do you have at home that you are baking with? RD says Nicola hosting a show with Gladys in it. Oh, that would be amazing. Like, you know what? My fear of going to Italy is that I will not come back. I will live in Nick's house and eat and wake up and just have a good old life with beautiful views. That's the problem. Okay, so if I don't go to Italy, it's because I like my life here, and I'm scared I will lose it if I go to Italy, because I won't want to come back. Okay, I won't want to come back, because who doesn't want to eat good food? Like, I mean, who doesn't want to eat good food? I would want to be fed well, okay? And if you haven't checked Nicola out, I think one of these days, look, I may sound like I know what I'm doing, okay? One of these days, God. That's the secondary screen. I may sound like I know what I'm doing, and I hope I do when it comes to cakes, but I'm not tech savvy, okay? I'm not tech savvy. I get bored with things I don't like very much. So I don't know my way around the YouTube app so much. But I would like to host Nick over here, okay, so that we can do like a Joe live. Nick, I know you're better than me, so fill the gap and let us know. We would like to have you, okay, so that we can talk about cakes and food and everything else in between. And then I'll come on your channel and hang out with you too. That will be fun, okay? But for the rest of us in the chat, I think I've missed a lot of the chat, but that's not a problem. Tomorrow we're back baking cupcakes, okay? We're baking cupcakes. We're making them into themed cupcakes. It will be super exciting. So for those of you who want to join us tomorrow, that will be fun. And by the way, this is on top of my head again. You know, I'm such I don't want to say I'm such a mess, because words matter, okay? Words matter. So be careful the words you put out. But I just feel like I told you yesterday, my brain feels like this. It's like I can't focus. It's like it's jumpy. Yeah, I need to get my head together, right? But a long time ago, people, remember, oh, for those of you who have been here long enough, you know I have commitment problems. So much so that when I started the channel, I wasn't sure I was going to stick with the 3 days a week. We started with one day? And then we made it consistently into 3 days. And then there was a point where we did daily lives. And that became a little bit too much. I just felt like, okay, let's give ourselves a break. And then when marathon times came, you will see me multiple times in a day. But I think the most consistent I have been is stick with the 3 days a week. And I'm just thinking, can we throw in the 4th day and make it like a specific thing for you guys, okay? Where we are doing a bake along or something. So that the 3 days are just like tutorials and live sessions of whatever, right? But you get something back on the extra day, which is either to engage you in a bake along. Because I wanted to kind of move the bake along onto, say, a Zoom. But we couldn't kind of come to a conclusion on it, and it fell by the wayside. I am thinking about it again, okay? Because especially because I also want to use it as an opportunity to identify what your specific needs are. Because let's face it, at this point, we are all in love with each other, okay? Whether if I'm here talking nonsense, you will still be here watching because we love each other, okay? But let's not forget the goal for which this was created, okay? We are now a village. We are helping each other. We are showing ourselves. But let's not forget the real goal, which is the value for which we came here, that you wanted to learn to bake and I was here to teach you to bake. Let's not forget that part. And I kind of feel like as the fun has gone on, we may just get carried away by so much fun. Is it in my head? Let me know. That's all. Lollipop says, yeah, YouTube allows 2 creators to go live at the same time using the go live together feature. This feature enables co-streaming. Okay, Lollipop, I mean, yeah, let me go have a look at how that will work. Nick, I will email you, okay? I'll email you. For those of you who don't know, I am just terrible at emails. Like, when I disappear off here, I don't want to do any admin. I think I need to get a VA to kind of... The problem with VA is I've had one before. It's just that the subjects are just so cake-centered. A VA cannot cover the language. They can do the job of admin, organizing the emails. They can't respond like I would because I'm still the cake maker. So I am just terrible at emails, people. Just forgive me. That's all. But that is just by the way. It would be lovely to kind of get back to the bake along sessions, okay? And then we'll see. Because we're headed to 10K, you know. Because I think some point before the weekend or by the end of the weekend, we will end up at 9K and we will only be 1,000 people short of 10K, and we will be climbing the hill rather quickly, or at least I hope, right? As long as we continue to deliver you value. So I don't want this to be so mundane that we forget why we came. So let us know. Let me know in the chat if you want the bake along, so that we will kind of make it a permanent feature, so that we know that maybe the bake along is twice a month, and then I will release the ingredients and stuff, and you get to choose. You get to choose what we are doing on a bake along, okay? That's the goal, so that you can use it as an opportunity to learn things you want to learn, things you want to specialize and understand. I can unpack those by engaging you in the process, okay? So let's see how that goes. I will be excited to do that. just to give you something back as well, because it's not always shits and giggles, you know. I mean, I know talking about shits and giggles, like I know my headspace is a bit mad at this point because I'm obsessing about Olivia and Fitz. Let's not go down there, okay? Let's not go down there. I think one of these days one of these days I'm gonna come back, right? And then we'll do a cake and buttercream trivia, and we'll see how well you know your cakes and buttercream, or you're just hanging out here, just wasting time in the name of having fun with Miss Gladys over here. Okay, we'll do cake trivia. That would be exciting. Who is looking forward to that? Yeah, it will be the normal suspects and culprits. It will be fun. Oh, I did say, our friend, those of you who still wanted to see our dog. I told you. That's our doggy Cake. He looks angry and mad, and he looks like we call it Strudel. Okay, Strudel is our unhappy doggy friend. Okay, his eyes are horrid. He's old, but he's still our dog in house. We love it. Okay, so that's Strudel. Okay. And yeah, Strudel is minding his own business. What am I? Suddenly we realize Strudel is a him, is it? I don't know, Lollipop. I think what I want to do, at least on top of my head, what I want to do is sort of see if I can take it apart, recarve the cake, and then we can make a different dog from it, like a different dog, so that it will be like recycling of this dog, and then see if we can get like a specific breed of dog, maybe whatever comes to mind, and then see if we can get the features finer. I don't know at this point. I am still like contemplating, but perhaps by next week I would have decided, and then we will start over with that. But the more I recycle cakes the more I also realize that I have so much cakes in the fridge that needs to be used. I don't know. Anyway, the truth is, if I really wanted to show up here 3 times a day, I would, because there's so much cakes. But 3 times a day, I can't keep up because I have other responsibilities too. So you know what? Let's see how it goes. Either way, we will try and yes, RD. Yep. Strudel just got out of shelter. He was poked in the eye, and he's feeling he can't process his happy emotions very well. Okay, so let's give Strudel some love. Okay, be kind to Strudel. Strudel is like this. Now I look like Strudel's mama, don't I? Okay, so be kind to Strudel. Eat the cake or donate. The problem is that Jamshid Ibrahim says, WTF, is that a real dog or cake? What do you think? You tell us, Ibrahim, okay? You tell us. Right? For those of you in the chat who haven't taken time to like the video, please do that whilst we unpack our dog. Lollipop says, eat the cakes or donate. No, I can't donate them. You know why? Because they are frozen cakes that have been frozen for a very long time, and whilst they've not gone off, I will not be donating them to anyone. So I will have to use them for tutorials. And now that I'm moving homes, I have a freezer full of frozen cakes. I don't know, I need help. I have to go. Good day, Gladys. Good vibes. we're leaving soon. Okay, so thank you for your help. Have a blessed day. Come back tomorrow, God willing, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for all you do. Take care, my dear. Okay, feed the birds. You forgot Sandra said the birds won't eat my cake. Where were you when Sandra said that? If you don't know the reference I'm making, too late now. I will explain tomorrow. Sandra was the difficult complaining customer that said that my cakes were so bad that the birds wouldn't eat them. So it turns out the birds won't eat them. But that is strudel over here. We've done French buttercream. We'll be back tomorrow to start with the cupcakes and get them decorated ready for Friday. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay, people? Lollipop, Tapita, RD, Adobe, all 40 of you counting down to the 8 who are in the chat. Thank you for being here today, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy baking. I'll see you soon. Bye.